Hi everyone, welcome to TGIF, another Friday, another episode. As part of TGIF series, we hosted a lot of technology leaders from the industry to capture the perspective on technology. Recently, I happened to meet an young entrepreneur, a 15-year-old who is a co-founder of a company called Cloud Attack, and I was intrigued by his take on technology. I thought it's best to host him as part of TGIF and pick his brains on his take on technology. So it's my pleasure to host Prajwal and Hedge, an young entrepreneur, for a short conversation. Prajwal, welcome to TGIF.
Thank you, Sandeep. Great to be here.
Wonderful. So we connected recently at an event. I had a lot more questions but I would ask you, so I thought this is best to get you on TGIF. Yeah. So quickly, you have your own startup, right?
Yep.
But somewhere your journey started in the world of technology. So tell us a little bit about that.
Sure, Sandeep. So my main area of technology started, or exposure of technology started towards electronics. So from electronics, I went on building, and that was at a very early age.
Okay.
It's not that I started like years ago when I was 8 or something. My main exposure started only when I was in like around 7th grade.
Okay.
So that's when I was introduced to robotics, and an advancement in terms of electronics, and that demanded learning C, C++. So in a robotics class. That's when I first got exposed to programming. I learned C, C++. I saw everything great it could actually do, and I was completely, awed by it.
Okay.
But my main area of interest still lied in terms of hardware more than software. But then, progressing, learning Python, etc., I understood what software can do as well. And then came cloud in my life, where you have virtualization of hardware, and then you have software running on top of that. So it was this perfect combination that I loved, and I've loved it ever since.
Wonderful. So good to know. Now, quickly, for students, how important it is to get exposed to the world of technology early in their student life.
So I think, Sandeep, it's very important for students to get exposed to technology as early as possible, because number one point is, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
If you don't know that a certain technology exists, a certain solution exists, you'll probably not use it, and you'll never know that how it can actually help you in your life or perhaps make it better.
Got it.
So I think the earlier you're exposed to technology as a young person or as a youngster or perhaps anywhere in life, then it is the better side of it. So yeah, that would be my call. The earlier the better.
Wonderful. I think you can't ignore technology in the current times.
Definitely, you can't.
Awesome. So quickly, now you basically built something very meaningful. Cloud Attack is what you call. That's your startup venture.
True.
Now, as an entrepreneur, I would say as a student, right? There is so much happening in the current times in the world of technology. So, if somebody asks you, "Hey, tell me one thing that's interesting, intrigues you from innovation perspective on the technology," so what would that be?
So I think one thing that interests me a lot is in terms of AIML, and just to give an example, in terms of technology, when I talk about it as a student,
Right.
a lot of people know that it is taught in academics or in a formal sector or formal way.
Right.
But at some point of time that becomes a little boring or irrelevant to people because they don't know where to use it.
Right.
And that's where making projects come into place.
Got it.
Where you can actually make projects out of basically solving social problems. That's where I got my big breakthrough.
Got
And
it.
implementing that technology is where that excitement, just punches in.
Got it.
So that is one aspect of it. And then second is AIML, because the things you can do with AIML right now are endless.
Got it.
And just talking about ChatGPT, OpenAI coming out with many more products, GitHub Copilot, it's all just completely exciting and motivating to watch what's happening in the market right now and being able to use it and being a part of this era.
Wonderful. I take it as AI that intrigues you right now. You mentioned GitHub Copilot.
Right.
I think that's probably the classic manifestation of how generative AI has been used to generate code.
True.
And GitHub Copilot is one product wherein it basically empowers developers to stay productive. Now, you have a startup, you have a team. So how important is GitHub Copilot for you as an entrepreneur?
So GitHub Copilot to me, Sandeep, is very, very important. And I think it's also helped me personally, and it can help my team in a massive way as well. But here's my call as an entrepreneur who is actually leading a team. I think GitHub Copilot and even perhaps ChatGPT is just there in the market to be leveraged and to be used as an advantage. So as an entrepreneur, go to market is really important. The faster you get to market, the faster you get a feature to the market, the better it is for us.
Right.
So that's where instead of, I know developers are irreplaceable, but at the same time, if I can help my developers with, GitHub Copilot, and I can, decrease the amount of time they take to do something and actually easy out stuff for them, that's where I think the big win-win situation lies in such AI products and generative tools. In fact, I use ChatGPT too in terms of, writing messages, emails, marketing taglines to whatnot. So I think it's not going to replace anything anytime soon, but being able to leverage it and being on the other side of the pool where it is, a benefit to you is what's the core idea or the point behind it.
Got it. I think AI is there to help us stay productive, become smarter, and make things in a much better fashion, right? Absolutely. So quickly, now you mentioned earlier projects, right? As a student, you basically, while you learn technology, you basically quickly move towards implementing it, because the real value of technology is when you implement it to solve a specific problem. And you brought in social angle to it earlier. Now, your success so far, do you attribute that to you playing with technology and implementing meaningfully so that you realize the benefit? Or at some point, you learned so much of technology, you wanted to kind of put it to good use. So what's your take?
I think my take would be a balanced version of both of these, because I was learning tech, right? And I was making projects that were fun but socially of no use, and it just remained with me. But when I got exposed to this vision of being able to solve problems using technology, and these problems are pressing social problems we see all around us. So that's when it gave me that kick of what technology can actually do and the endless possibilities it has to offer.
Okay.
So that's where I actually started out on, and that's where I got pretty excited. So I think the take would be a balanced version of both of these.
Awesome, wonderful. This is absolutely impressive, Prajwal. Now, quickly, one last question to you. What programming language you guys use to build your solution? I mean, is any specific favorite language of yours, or you leave it to the developers to choose, or how is it?
So usually whenever in terms of any field, right, graphic or programming, usually I like to leave it to the developers, because they know what they they can use best and what they're easy with. At the end of the day, that's what matters. But one thing that we all commonly agreed on right now is for app development we're using Unity. Main reason because it's cross-platform. We don't have to spend time developing on Android and iOS and getting that out. So it's done one place, and then we export it to Android and iOS at the same time. For backend, of course, it's Azure hosted. The entire backend is hosted on Azure. I don't think I even need to mention the reasons for it. It's just so simple to use, and the backend is of course on Node.js. So that's the technologies we are using, but yeah, it's always the developers' call on what they feel is the best and what they can put to the use and get maximum output out of.
Perfect. On the maximum output note, I think GitHub Copilot probably will help you get there.
Definitely.
Yeah? Awesome. Wonderful. Prajwal, it was a pleasure talking to you.
Same here, Sandeep.
And thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Wonderful. It's my pleasure. So with that, for all viewers today, as Prajwal rightly said, yes, it's his journey in terms of how he looked at technology and built something very meaningful. Of course, as an entrepreneur, he believes GitHub Copilot is the way forward to empower his developers to stay productive and build some cool stuff. So with that, thanks for watching us today. Have a wonderful Friday. Keep watching TGIF and have a great weekend ahead. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Awesome, man. So out of the box, right? Something which